Well, Toastmasters, we're talking about light. And the best light you get is outside, but not in direct sunlight. Look at that shadow. Not good. I go sideways. Shadow. Not good. No. What we need is a light source. Indirect. A flood of light from all over the place. And coming directly from that sun behind me is going to cause shadows all over the place. So what I need to do is stand in the shade. Now I stand in the shade, you can see that my face, including this horrible little thing here, is lit evenly. Even when I turn around, in comparison to the sun, you can still see that I am lit evenly. And although we're not talking about it, it is a light related issue. Look how I am lit compared to the shed behind me. I am very different in colour to the shed behind me, and my image is actually what we call popping off the background. And you can see all this greenery behind me is very different to this purposely weared reddish skin and my white top. So the first rule of lighting is that we want a light source that is not direct, is not pointed, is not going to cause shadows. That is the best thing we can have. And the second thing about lighting is if our lighting is creating an image that we are very different from our background, you see I am very bright and light, behind me is darker and green, then we have the best lighting. But of course we're not going to purposely come out in the garden to do our recordings, unless you like the birds chirping in as well. But this is the principle which we are now going to apply indoors, and that will be in the next section. So here I am, gate crashing my parents' bedroom. They won't be too pleased. We will try not to show too much, except they have a wonderful bay window. And this wonderful bay window is going to give me some fantastic light. So if I turn around, look at that, look at the difference. Beautiful light all over my face. It makes me look much more handsome than I really am. That is fantastic. Of course, if the sunlight is coming straight through the window, at the moment it's at an angle, so it's not. The sunlight is coming straight through the window, then we've got an issue with direct light. We don't want that. If you do have a big window and you're concerned about direct light, then put a shade across it. Just a thin shade, maybe just a white sheet or something like that. That will break up the lines of the sunlight and turn it into a great big light source. Fantastic. But actually, that's not what I use. So let's go to my office and see how I do it there. So here I am in my office. It's about 8 foot by 8 foot, and it is night time. And that's fine, because I don't like to use the daylight for the reasons that I gave. Daylight changes, clouds change, so I have thick curtains on the light on the window ahead of me, which is behind the camera, and you can't get too much light through that way. And I have a normal light bulb up above, giving me one source of light. And you can see the source of light is giving me issues because it's a point light, so I've got my shadows again. So you have two options. The budget option is that you get a couple more spotlights, i.e. bulbs, and you put one to your left, one to your right, and then hopefully the light produced by the three of them, the one above and the two to the side, will actually merge together and it will give you an overall look. The other option is to start using a bit of technology like a beauty light. Now you may already have a beauty light, your partner may have a beauty light. I've got one off eBay. I have a beauty light and it actually has this phone mounted inside it, so I can now turn it on. And you can see the camera compensating because the light's changed. And that gives me, and you can see the reflection of it in my glasses, so you can see what it is. It's just a big round LED light. And that gives me a nice covering, a good lighting. Now there are shadows because it's only a certain size. This is, I think, 18 inches across, so that it does have a limitation. But the thing is, the light that it's producing is all the way around the camera lens. So the camera can't see the shadows because the light is beyond it. This is a great light source. And the good thing about this light source is I can move around and still, as far as the camera is concerned, I have a good lighting. So this works. And these are very easy to get hold of. And if you are going to do a little bit of effort, put a bit of effort into doing videos in the future, then this is a good way of doing it. So that's your options. Your other option is that you can get more expensive floodlights, and you can get proper camera lights, but you don't really need to go that far. I think a beauty light will get you through this competition quite adequately. Now, it also depends on how far you're moving away from it. I'm moving about 1 meter away. We've been talking about a stage area for you to use of about 2 meters back and 3 meters wide. So I'm limited because I've used my short lead microphone here. So I'm limited how far I can go back. But if I go back a little bit more, maybe over here, you can see the light is going to drop off, but it's not dropping off too badly. And if I'm going to move in a stage area of like here, then I think that is quite presentable. I look quite good. And I actually haven't turned up this light to its full power, so I could turn it up a bit more. There we are. And you see I've got a nice light on me, but I want to be, that's quite good. Of course, to you, when you're watching this, this is difficult to see because the light is so bright that I don't see myself so well on the screen. But we always say you shouldn't be looking at the screen anyhow. You should be looking at the camera lens, which is there. So I should be looking at that camera lens, and I know I'm in my stage area, and it doesn't matter where I go. So the last thing I will do is I will show you what this light looks like. I'll turn it down before it kills the poor old phone when I turn it around. So if I take the phone off and turn it around to show you, that is my ring light. You can get them from eBay for not a lot of money. And if you are going to do a bit more videoing, they're quite a neat way of giving you light short range. If you want to go for more expensive things, then actually you'll find that these types of floodlights are not that expensive. And what is this? This is a light bulb in there, but this white screen breaks up the light, so it becomes a flood of light, not a point of light giving you a big shadow. And that is really what we want to talk about on the light side. So in summary, you want a bright light, because the brighter the light, the better you're going to look on the camera, which we'll go on to later in another video. You want to make sure you haven't got any hard shadows. And I know that there are ways that photographers like to put shadows on people when they're taking photographs. But remember, you're going to be moving around. And if you're moving around, then you need a light that's going to light you all the directions and the actions that you do. And holding the phone with the camera in your hand is pretty much not allowed, because Toastmasters International say the camera has to stay still, and you can only use one as well, which is a shame, because I'd love to flip from one camera to another, camera one, camera two, but you can't do that either. So you need to make sure your camera, your webcam, is securely fastened in front of you, and that your light will give you good light to cover the whole area that you are going to be moving around in. You don't want to disappear into the shadows, because we all know that facial expressions, that hand expressions are really important as Toastmasters, and if they can't see you well, then you're in trouble. And of course, talking about light and backgrounds, as we did when we were outside, this top is the wrong colour for this background. We want to be contrasting, and one white and another white isn't a contrast. So I either need to change my top or I need to change the background. But I need the contrast between the two so that I pop out of the picture more. But you can see that I am well lit, and the popping out effect is already happening, but it will happen better and it will look better with a contrasting background, especially when you're moving your hands around in a contrasting background and the video is not always as fast on the internet with Zoom. So that's all I'm going to say about lighting. Make sure you have soft light, a blanket of light, not a point of light, and you will look your best. Make it brighter than you think it should be, and that will give your camera more chance to bring out your best bits and look good. If it's low light, the camera's fighting for a good picture. And that's the end of our Lighting 101.